Yes. And we are back. The Nets Kingdom podcast. We're back. Welcome to the Kingdom. And we have a very, very, very special guest with us. Nets reporter Matt Brooks has joined the Kingdom, y'all. Shout out Nets Nation. Shout out Nets Gang. Brooklyn, we go
What's up,
hard.
Matt? What's up?
What's up,
Shout
y'all?
out everybody in the comments. I'm going to read a couple comments, and then I'm going to let Matt Brooks introduce himself, tell him what he does and all that. We got Savianko said, Matt Brooks, we love you. W's in the chat. A lot of W's. Thank you. Age said, let's go. What's good, Age? Washington, D.C. Nets Nation. Hey, Nets Nation in Washington. What's up? Young Boy Ray. Hey, what's up? Owen Webb. Hey, what's up, yo? Arthur, what's good? Matt the GOAT. They're saying they're bigging you up, Matt. Vincent.
We'll let everybody down now.
Yeah, Vincent said, hey, yo, what's up? Christopher Minor said, Brooklyn, what's up? And J4DY, what's up, bro? Yeah, so Matt, just tell them a quick summary of what you do and how you became to be a great reporter and Nets reporter.
I don't know about great. Quickly is not my strength. All right. Nets reporter. I've been doing this 3-4 years. Yeah. Always specialized in video. So whether it's just breaking down film and videos or podcasts, or I started a YouTube channel kind of beginning of last year. That's always kind of what I've specialized in. I'm a credential reporter for the team, so yes. I ask the guys questions and stuff like that. Whatever reporters do, but that's kind of I have my little my niche is the film stuff, breaking down what's going on within the games, breaking down players. Yeah. That's my interest. So that's me. I don't know if that's a good description, but
yeah. And I was telling Saint the way I found Matt Brooks was from YouTube. Like I was like, yo, these breakdowns, because I started this channel basically just looking up because I couldn't find any Nets content on YouTube. I would type in Brooklyn Nets and I'll get a 5-second clip of Stephen A. and be like, I need more, and then just searching up Nets content like every day, and then I found you on there breaking down videos. I was like, yo, this guy's really, really good. Follows you on Twitter. Saint follows you. Everybody was like, this guy is the truth. And I was telling them before, we need Matt back in there for the good questions because reporters are like, they're not. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying we need in-depth basketball analysis questions, and Matt is like perfect at that. Just again, go on his YouTube, Matt Brooks NBA, subscribe. But first things first, we want to get off is who are your standouts? I know you watched the game. My standouts, I had Paul Millsap and I had a sneaky pick. I had Dayron as my sneaky pick in there. I know everybody wants to put Cam, but I had Paul Millsap and Dayron were my standouts. Give us a little. What did you see standing out in the preseason game?
I feel like I had to go like a weird, left field pick, but I really want to pick Millsap and Cam Thomas if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Millsap he looked kind of what I was hoping it would look like, and I was talking about this on a podcast I just did. It was really interesting because they didn't have any of the big three playing. Yeah. They kind of had to change how they run offense completely. Like normally they're a pretty decently high pick and roll team, just with how much pick and roll they run with Harden, because that's really the best way to get him going. Or they run post ups for KD. Like that's mostly their offense. But because they didn't have those guys, and it was like we got a pretty good idea early, like, hey, maybe we shouldn't run pick and rolls with Javon Carter like 20 times.
I was telling everybody yesterday, like, who was running point guard yesterday? Because I saw Javon Carter bring up the ball. I saw Bruce Brown on the ball. And then I saw somebody else. Bembry, it was like there were so many different people bringing up the ball, and then
even LaMarcus.
Even LaMarcus. And then that Bruce Brown Bembry just didn't kind of work for me. But then what Paul Millsap was doing that stood out to me was, again, rebounds. We knew he was going to help us with rebounds. And then him spacing the floor, hitting threes. Like I was telling Saint, if he can do that off the bench, because we don't know if he's going to start yet, but if he can do that off the bench, 10 points, give us 8 rebounds, it will just be beautiful for the Nets.
I think he will. I think he's a better shooter than Blake, honestly. Like I know you can look at the percentages and you'd be like, well, Blake shot 40%. I would like to see what Paul Millsap looks like when, let's say, 60% of his threes are open. Like, because that's realistically like the situation he's going to be in. What I like about him is he's more willing to just get it up. You know what I mean? It's like if he gets the ball, it's going to go up. Blake will, it kind of wasn't as big of a problem in the playoffs, but in the regular season, he'd pass up looks. He'd maybe go into a handoff when he really should have just taking the catch and shoot three. Yeah. But Millsap, like if he's got an open look, he's going to go up with it. He can take different, kinds of shots. So if they run a pick and pop, he can fly out of that and he'll get a look where he's pretty well balanced. And I'm not sure if we always got that with Blake. Like Blake does kind of need to have everything in order for him to really get it off, a shot off. So
Blake kind of needs the ball in his hands. Like Blake kind of needs the ball, like to bring up the ball and then set up that that handoff screen. Yeah, like he usually does that like handoff screen all the time.
And Millsap can do that too. Like that was the thing. So as they realized pretty early they couldn't run pick and roll, so they started kind of flowing into more handoff stuff for Millsap. And it was just I've never watched the Nets play like that. Like even especially under Kenny Atkinson. Yeah. I've just never watched them just play only handoffs out of their big game. It's really weird.
All handoffs. It's that space to floor, 5 out kind of like, it's
the thing weird. I will say, I'll say about Millsap that I noticed, I liked how smooth his shot was in comparison to like if you were going to make the comparisons between Blake and him, where it was like, you didn't see like, Millsap came across a guy that he's not going to hesitate. He's not going to didn't look like he was going to take a bad shot, but he wasn't going to hesitate if he was open. Where we did see those times where we're like, Blake, shoot it. Like you had plenty, and he still hesitated for whatever reason, passed it out. But that did give me he's got cement feet. I hope he doesn't try to do a bunch of turnaround post ups. But I'm happy with his rebounding. But I did see the cement feet. But as far as being to go out on the perimeter and just kind of be that extra guy that comes in for that 15 minutes, however long he gets, like he definitely looks like he can. I'm not sure, was it him with the pass to the guy? Was it Paul Millsap that had that pass down the middle to either Bembry or Bruce Brown that I thought was
a little dump off pass?
He's a sneaker. He's a sneaky good passer. He's a sneaky good passer.
I was impressed with his hands and his ability to kind of keep the ball moving, especially within the paint. So.
And I'm gonna throw this out to the chat and to Chubbs and Rage, because me and Sam were talking about this about if we want Blake or Paul Millsap to start. I know like Steve Nash is still deciding what I know the starting lineup changes every game and everything, but what I was telling Saint was I'm a little worried about Blake's health sometimes because Blake doesn't play back to backs. Can he take all those starting minutes? So it's like, is there a possibility Paul Millsap could start at times and get more minutes than Blake until the playoffs, I guess. Do you guys think that?
I hope so. I think they should. I mean, for me, I'm not even worried about who's starting and who's coming off the bench. I'm more worried about who plays with who. Yeah. Because it's like I don't know who's going to be if let's say they have to play big. I don't know if they're going to have to, but let's say they did and they have to play one of LaMarcus and Blake and Paul Millsap and Claxton together. I'm more worried about which of those guys look good together versus who's coming off the bench.
The rotation. Okay, the rotations. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
And I didn't get any clarity on that.
What's that?
Yeah.
I said we didn't get much clarity on that yesterday because LaMarcus was yanked early.
Yeah. I mean, the versatility is because we also had a discussion yesterday and somebody brought up on the chat. It's like we were sitting there arguing over like who to cut, who to do this, and it's do you realize we're arguing about the 15th man on the roster of who's going to be here? I'll give
borderline third stringers.
We're arguing. Jay from, I don't know if you know. I'm Matt. You made Jay from Brooklyn on Twitter. He came on and he brought that up, and it was a great point. But it got me even thinking more. Later on was just the versatility of this team now in comparison to last year, especially now down low. You have an argument whether what I'm hearing thunder. If for some reason my power goes out, AJ, you're gonna have to start this and take over. The way this day is going, it wouldn't surprise.
Bro, this day you can't make this day up. The internet was hacked, thunderstorms. This day is, and we have Matt Brooks here. Is you can't make it up. Anything is possible here, bro.
So if mine all of a sudden go black, then you'll know what's up. But it got me thinking about the versatility even more. I mean, like you said, I agree with that. I guess at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. Is it Clax or LaMarcus? Is it Blake or is it Paul Millsap? You have the ability to run these guys out almost anywhere from 15, 20 minutes a piece and constantly have somebody that you can plug in to do something different if you got to change the matchups to fit something. And it's outside of the big three, I guess it really almost doesn't matter, in my opinion, who you really start. I know some people might differ on that, but
Oh, and I'm interested.
make
I'm gonna
yourself.
segue real quick because Matt, I want to ask Matt this about Joe Harris because now we're talking about lineups.
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Joe Harris is the odd man. I don't know if he's the odd man out, but everybody, Nets Nation is divided. You know, everybody in Nets Nation wants to know: is he gonna starting? Is it more effective or him playing? I guess what is his role now? Because the team changed. We got so much different lineups. We got a front court now. So because last year we didn't really have a good front court. But now that we have the front court, it's like Joe at the 4. No, like, you know, it's tough to say what
some of us don't want to see that Joe and Blake starting with the big 3 anymore.
Yeah,
I'm in that camp.
Bro.
I hope he comes off the bench, but
yeah, I mean, I like that lineup because I think it's effective, but I'm also not tied to it in a way. Like I think, especially during the regular season, it really doesn't matter if you're playing your best possible lineup, you know, in your starting lineup. You don't want to be like the way the Nets were last year where DeAndre Jordan's starting and they're like down 10 every single game. Like, you don't want to be in that situation. But if, like, let's say they started, you know, James Harden, Kyrie, KD, Millsap, and LaMarcus, just throwing a lineup out there. And that way you keep those 2 veterans happy because you know they're giving them guaranteed minutes. And then off the bench, for me, like with Joe Harris, I really want him playing with Harden a lot because I think that's something they need to tap into more, is just putting those guys, you know, having Joe Harris screen for Harden. That's something we saw a lot in the very first Milwaukee Bucks game. I don't know if you guys remember this. They just ran that same play like 6 times in the fourth quarter against the Bucks, and it worked every time. So I want to see that. I also really, really want to see Joe Harris, Patty Mills playing with James Harden. I just think that is
I agree.
Overwhelming. That overwhelms me to think about. I can't imagine defending it.
The best way to put
just those 2 by itself is crazy.
Just
by itself.
I think some people see that though as like a second unit. Why some people are like, and myself included, are pushing for, you know, Joe to come off the bench, because I just feel like it takes a little pressure off him. I mean, granted, the one thing that, you know, the amount of hate that he got for missing, you know, those shots in the playoffs, you know, they do seem to forget how durable the guy was and what a workhorse he was for the Nets. And it's like, I think you can't just off-write that. Like, this guy's always there, ready to play, even if he doesn't produce the way you want him to produce, even if he didn't hit those big shots. And it all broke our heart. And yes, if he made a couple of those, we could have been having a different discussion right now. But at the end of the day, though, like you said, that Patty Mills, like Joe Harris and Harden running with the second unit, throwing out, like, say, whether it's Claxton or whether it's like Blake or Paul Millsap, that sounds nasty to me. Like, as a second unit, like, I almost feel like you don't need Harris in the starting lineup with the big. I don't know. That's just the way I see it. Like, I see
a lot of people see it, and the comments are going crazy right now. The comments are saying,
"1-2 punch." Like, if you put Harris on that second unit coming off the bench, running it with Harden would just be like good luck. Like, which lineup do you want? Like,
and you would close games too. Like, we put so much emphasis on starting lineups in general with NBA discourse, and for me, I'm like, I don't really care about, like, you know, I think, like, I wouldn't mind if LaMarcus Aldridge started next year as the center. That'd be fine, because he'd play like 10 minutes and he probably wouldn't close out the game, but he'd be fine because he'd be a starting center in the league. Like, to a degree, these guys have egos, and for him to be a starting center on a you know, a roster like that kind of, I don't know. I think that plays into that a little bit, and so I think Joe would be a guy that would close out games next to the big 3.
Yeah, and then
I think some people are really nervous about that, though.
Yeah, they're coming at you in the comments saying of course. Saying Joe Harris is your boy. That's why you're,
because I'm unreal, because I'm not like giving you a very unrealistic take where the fashionable thing for most newer Net fans, not like longtime Net fans or even pre-Kyrie, KD, and Harden, is that you, like, immediately Joe is the whipping post. He's the whole reason we lost the series. It's all his fault. He's trash. He's all these things just over a few missed shots. So I'm a little more realistic in the sense of knowing the positives he does bring, but acknowledging the fact that you know what I'm saying? That, like, he dropped the ball and it hurt, man. It hurt to watch. Like, So
it was pretty. Yeah, it was,
but whatever. I'm used to it by now. I really don't care if people come at me.
It's just funny how the comments.
Of course.
And I'm gonna ask Matt this too. We're gonna go back to preseason, right? So, I was talking about the defense. We were talking about the defense, how the defense kind of looked a little. I know it's preseason. I know everybody. This is overreaction. Yes, but the defense did look a little more put together. And I wanted to ask Matt's opinion because I know you break down the Nets all the time. The switch everything defense that we go through. And will Steve Clifford, the new coaching consultant, do you think we're going to see a different type of defense, or do you think to switch everything is effective and we should just stay in that how we've been doing?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
So Steve Clifford
famously
made Vucevic look great. Look great. I mean, not great defensively, but passable, right?
Yeah.
And he goes to Chicago, and they are horrible defensively. And I think a big part of that is they ran a lot of drop defense, which is basically you're just parking your center. It's how the Nets used DeAndre Jordan pretty much entirely throughout his tenure. Just park him in the paint. You're going to be the
drop
guy.
Coverage.
Yep.
Brook Lopez. Drop coverage like Brook Lopez.
Brook Lopez. So, that's kind of what they've used. And they were doing that a lot yesterday, which makes sense because LaMarcus was out there. It was interesting when they were dropping with Claxton because we really haven't seen that since, I guess, his rookie year under Kenny Atkinson. They used him kind of as a drop center, and then he comes out the next year and after coming off an injury, and he starts switching, and it's like you kind of see him unlocked. I like him a lot more as a switch center. I think the drop defense doesn't really show what his full skill set is.
Yeah.
But I thought it was interesting. And again, it's preseason. He's barely played period because he couldn't stop fouling. So it's like, I don't know if I should really read into that too much, but I will say I thought it was interesting that they were dropping with pretty much everybody. And that was a big, big part of Clifford's scheme.
Okay. Yes. Because I was thinking of when I researched Clifford, every team he usually goes to, the defense goes from 25 to the 5th ranked defense. Every team he goes to the defense goes to the top of the NBA. And I'm like, so Steve Clifford's defense is legit. So it's I feel
regular season.
Yeah.
Regular season. Drop defense grades out really well in the regular season. You can look at over the last couple of years. I mean, some of them are just elite defenses where it's the Raptors or the Bucks last year. Those are just good defenses. They're going to be good at everything they do. But you'll have these teams where you're I don't really know how that personnel is that good. And then you watch them, you're like, oh, they just play drop defense a lot. It really does bail you out in that way. So I think that'll be curious to watch.
Hey, real quick, 824. He didn't leave a message, but he did give a super chat. Appreciate it, David 824.
There's a lot of comments. Somebody said in the comments, won't be surprised if Steve Nash does a word experiment by trying a small ball lineup of Kyrie, Mills, Bruce Brown, Joe Harris, and Blake Griffin. Yes.
I was
waiting for this comment. This comment I was waiting for this one.
I mean, I hope we don't see 40-something different starting lineups next season. I hope to God. But this also wouldn't surprise me. Yes, I would not be surprised.
Now, and I think that the best defense for the Nets is because every team's gonna be different, but it's the best defense is the defense that kind of you can change. It changes with the team you're playing, because every team has different schemes, every team has different offensive players. So it's there's some teams you don't want to switch everything because they'll expose you. You know what I'm saying? And there's some teams you want to drop coverage. So it's if we have a perfect balance of both.
Can we acknowledge that on the switching yesterday, we didn't even think about it or cringe like we did last year?
It was good,
Granted, it was role player versus role player, but even from the onset of the game, when I did notice switching between Bembry, Brown, and even Carter, I was comfortable with the switching because I was confident. I was confident in those guys' ability for defense, and it just, I don't know, it just felt so much better than last season. Yeah,
Shaman and Tyler Johnson switching on to Giannis or LeBron or something like that.
But I didn't even feel bad when one of them, I think at one point Carter got an AD, and I wasn't mad because I was well, at least he's, it just happened, but at least the guy's trying to fight and do something opposed to just stepping out of the way our last 7-footer would do. But hey, real quick, just to bust in here, Amon super chat.
We got super chat. Come on, appreciate the super chat, bro. He said, "Do you think any of the big three play this Friday versus the Bucks?" Oof. Is it our last preseason game?
No,
we
have two more.
Philly. Yeah, Philly.
Oh, we have two more?
Four total. I'm sorry. We have the next one coming up at home, and then there's two more after that. I think we only got 4, correct?
Yeah, there's one on. It's Friday, Monday, and then I want to say Wednesday.
The 8th, 11th, but I think it's the 8th, 11th, and 14th. I think are preseason games. Lakers got 6, by the way. That must be nice. But.
Wait, what? Okay,
yeah.
So I think
they're doing double days for practice. Yeah, which I'm like, I mean, I wouldn't be what I would do with that team that's like average age 36 years old. Like I would.
Ariza already got a little thing problem. He already got a foot problem
already. Give him more days. That's right. That's a good call. But I mean, his question. Yeah. What do you think?
Then I don't think they're gonna play Friday. I think they're gonna play maybe like the last preseason game. That's the thing. That's the game I think they'll play.
In my opinion, I don't think they play
any of the preseason games.
No.
Oh wow!
I think at least one of the big three will play.
The last one.
It's tough, but at the end of the day, I mean, I think preseason is more of trying to get to see what the young guys can do against actual NBA players. Because the thing is, even with a lot of other teams, like they'll play their young guys and they'll play some of their old guys that don't get much time either. So that's what I think. That's what our goal is. Obviously, you want to see a lot of Cam Thomas, obviously, and you want to give these guys that are fighting for a roster spot a chance. See what they can do.
Yeah, but that's why I'm going for like the last game or the last 2 games that you see some of the starters pop in for maybe a quarter. What do you think, Matt?
Oh, that's a perfect segue. Perfect segue to this question of the roster battle because I look up every reporter. I follow Alex Schiffer. I follow these reporters, and somebody has to ask Steve about the roster battle that's going on. That we need to, just more. I want more details on it. So I'm gonna ask Matt. Like, we know Sekou. Well, Christian Winfield reported he had Sekou on the chopping block, Javon Carter. And who was it? Bembry. Right? Those are the 3 guys that are like, somebody might get cut, So what is your who? Well, we're not gonna say who you want to get cut, but it's like, who do you think has the up and up right now with the first preseason game? Who looked the best to you out of like those 3? Sekou, Javon, and Bembry.
Man, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I mean, it seemed like they were really high. I mean, the comments that we heard, and granted, I'm not in San Diego, so I'm just reading this from Twitter like everybody else. I'm
me too. I'm literally like,
it's like your season hasn't started yet, right? Like,
no, it's pretty weird.
They're home. Yeah, I get it.
I was at media day, and then it's like I've had this big long week of like just kind of nothing. I'm like, I guess I'll do a video on. I don't know what I'll do. I'll do 19 podcasts for another. I think people are getting tired of hearing from me. But yeah, no. So I think they were really high on Carter and Bembry.
Yeah.
Just based on all those comments, I felt bad for Carter yesterday because he was just put in such a hard spot where they were just making him run the entire offense. Like, God bless Javon Carter, man. But look, he's an off guard. Like, he should be playing off the ball, shooting threes, playing defense.
That's what I was trying to say because he was bringing up the ball a lot. Like, he was playing that point guard role. And I was like, is he really that kind of point guard or is he more of like an off the ball shoot kind of play defense kind of guard?
Like, he's your Pat Beverly to me. Like, that's kind of like that. Like, not exactly the same player, but like, he's not necessarily going to be taking the ball up. They'll give him the ball off the catch, and then if he makes a decision from there, maybe they'll find another player with a pass, or he'll just take the shot. So I like him in that way. I think that like yesterday was a really hard. It was just hard to get a feel for him, because he was in such a weird role. Bembry's just like a lot of energy. You know what I mean? Like he's just doing crazy. Can I swear on this show? I don't know if I can.
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
you can say whatever you want, bro.
All right, cool. He's just doing crazy shit. Like, honestly, like, it's just like he gets the ball and you're like, I don't know what's going to happen here. It might be
unpredictable.
Like, I have no idea what's going on here. So, but he's fun. And then Sekou, I was honest, I've been kind of lower on Sekou personally. I thought he was interesting at the end. Like, he's kind of playing with, sub NBA level talent. It's like Mac McClung out there and who knows else. The hillbilly guy, whatever they were calling him.
Austin Reeves.
Hillbilly didn't they call him Hillbilly
Kobe? Yeah, Hillbilly.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Austin Reeves.
We got to come up with a better nickname.
Yeah,
we're doing my man real dirty with that one.
Come on, Nets Nation.
there's nothing like anything about him that represents, or I look at him and go, yeah, hillbilly Kobe. Yeah, there's nothing. There's not one thing.
We're doing him dirty. But yeah, so he was out there, and like Sekou looked pretty good in that. I think Sekou looked good enough that I want to get a longer look at him playing with some of the other guys, just because I want to know.
Yeah,
you know, I want to know.
I do. See, thank you, Matt. Thank you. You're
Matt, I do got to show you something real quick. Hold on.
Because I'm not feeling like Rage is our resident, like, because it seems like some teams have like farm teams, right? Like, and we think like Detroit is the Nets farm team, and Rage
he's our representative in Detroit. He's a Nets representative in Detroit, basically. That's what he is.
He's going undercover. He's like the spy.
Yeah.
I mean, you were talking before. I know some people. I've seen some people say they love Carter, then people don't like him. Then there's Bembry. Some people like him. I think he's redundant when you have Bruce Brown. I mean, I don't dislike him, but if you were to get rid of him, you're not going to – I mean, he's coming way off the bench. So
but everybody yesterday was talking about Sekou.
Everybody has like a different guy that they like.
We saw Sekou play, and we were all like, whoa, like he could be effective. We didn't see enough of him. That's the thing. We didn't see enough of him, but like –
there it is.
Oh, there it is. Like, show it, put up again. Like, put it on the screen.
Put up again.
Oh, man.
Here, wait. Hold it. Stay right there. Stay right
not gonna
there.
see this.
Yeah.
Kumbaya.
Oh, hey, and then this.
You know what's funny?
Matt,
the Pistons colors are the same as the Long Island Nets.
So they
are.
That's crazy.
We got two farm teams.
Don't forget this badass thing when we got him.
Dr. Doom. Dr. Doom, bro. I'm telling you, he got it in a game yesterday, and I was like, no, like this guy is like athletic, guarding 1 through 5. I was like, okay.
And at least he could shoot free throws. I mean, we will take the bare minimum for what we can get.
I'm okay with having the defensive.
Shout out to Blaze.
Oh, super chat. Oh, appreciate you, Blaze, man. My guy. He said Nets fam, love you guys all. F the Lakers, by the way. Yes, Blaze. Shout out Nets in the UK.
Yes, we have a huge people follow from Nigeria, UK, all over the place.
If you up in the UK, shout out a big up in the UK right now, yo.
It's Nets World.
But yeah, Nets World. But Sekou, man, like I said, I need to see more. I need to see more because I'm all in that defensive forward, come in and guard and athletic block shots. Get a steal.
And again, like I mentioned yesterday, the thing is with Sekou is that again when he was in Detroit, he was really raw. I mean, he wasn't really playing insane amount. I mean, when he did, he would produce, and there would be games where he would just like when he's off, he's kind of just standing there. He's not really doing much on offense. On defense, I do really like his defense.
Yeah, his defense is what stood out.
Hustle guy. He never is really lazy, and that's what I do like about him. But when he's doing bad on offense, he's standing there, not really moving. He's just standing there. And it hurts him a lot too because he's not a good shooter at all.
When his back is up against the wall, he can create a shot. You know what I'm saying? He can create a shot. That's the thing I like about him. He can create a shot.
He's an alright driver too. I do like his finishing a little bit. I do like how he was rebounding the ball too, and he put it back up. He was good.
I just feel like Sekou, like he's definitely a guy that I think you hold on to and at least give a season of development to see what you have. He's cheap enough.
Yeah.
Especially building him with the younger guys like Cam and Sharp. It's like you have that. Like I think there's still something enough there to not just outright trade him and move on from him, especially if. And I know we've said this before. But every season, we are going to, quite honestly, have a big roster turnaround every season.
Yeah.
You are going to, as a Nets fan, as long as you have the big three. So obviously, hopefully, we get Kyrie, we get Harden, we get their extensions locked up. If that's the case, and they're all playing together easily with the next 5 years, you are going to have to get used to new faces every year. That's just the reality. So if you can get a young guy in that has an upside that's going to cost you a few million each year, you kind of want to take the chance to develop them instead of constantly just switching in and out and having to try to find something. So I understand that's why even more and more why I think Marks really drafted those 5 players is because he knows he's going to have a window that he's going to have to keep operating with. And you want some regulars around, people that have been around for a couple seasons.
I'm going to read some comments real quick, and then I'm going to ask Matt about the second battle, the two-way battle. So let me read some comments real quick. Shout out to Truth. He said, why is no one talking about Millsap? He locked up AD. We did talk about Millsap, And I don't know if he locked up AD. We gotta just relax on that.
Locked him up.
I don't think he locked
That's
him up.
strong.
I wasn't
Yeah.
disappointed.
No, I appreciate the confidence. He shut him down. Couldn't get anything done.
Troy Williams said Nets defense is going to be better than it was last year. That's a fact. Nicholas Reed said, I agree with Matt. I want to see what Sekou can do. I believe he can be a great player for us. Shout out Nicholas Reed. Al Max said Sekou has only played basketball for 8 years. Wow. Oh, yeah. He's still young, bro. He has a lot to learn, too.
He's like
Still
20, man.
Some people believe he's
like
really
2 years ago
25,
that
which is stupid as shit.
Yeah.
The ceiling is so high for him.
Yeah, he's 20 years old.
He's
I think
20
it's
years
more
old,
fun
but
now.
it's like with Alize, man. There's just so there's potential there, but man, there's a lot of things to work on.
Yeah. Now I want to get into the two-way battle. We saw DDJ yesterday. There's been some disappointment in Nets Nation, but there's it's if and if. Like some people thought DDJ was great, and some people thought DDJ was, And then we have Devontae K. I'm not gonna say his. I might get demonetized, y'all. I don't know if I say his last name.
The
I'm
man
saying-
I might get
Devontae
demonetized.
Just call him eggplant. You already did.
YouTube.
Just call
If
him
you are
eggplant.
not comfortable in your manhood and you can't say
Bro,
the name,
It's not even that. It's
say
YouTube, bro.
it.
You know how YouTube be with the algorithm. They be like, whoa, this is explicit.
they got it. They got a K-Cock algorithm. Like
It's explicit. It's explicit.
I think,
But yeah, so they got.
they're
go
on
ahead.
K-Cox. YouTube is on K-Cox.com.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna get into the DDJ versus Devontae kind of two-way. The battle for the last
These
two-way
are two
match.
tough names, honestly.
Yeah.
This battle of
The battle of the DDJ versus.
We'll call him DDJ. We'll call him DDJ.
DDJ, bro. I'm telling you, bro.
Episode of like, what's those two? What's the like? God, what is that?
I'm telling you, Nets Nation adopted. We just put DD. I know he said he wants to be called that, but DDJ it's just a smooth,
It's pretty
it's a
good.
smooth. We always
That would be
nickname him
like-
Nets players, bro. So it's like
I'd rather not call him by his actual name. To be
Just
honest.
sounds like a
That's
good
what I'm
episode of like South Park, right? Like the David Duke Jr. and K-Cock like
Oh
episode.
my god, you
Like,
can't make this stay up, bro.
No, you
Yeah. But yeah, what's your take on how they both played? Who do you thought was more impressive? Who was more impressive to you, I guess, for those two guys?
I mean,
On that.
DDJ played more. Like that was the thing. Like I just didn't feel like I really got a huge sample of K-Cock. Like I didn't really feel like I saw like he was another guy like a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Diving for loose balls. Like that guy wants that two-way spot.
Yeah.
So and those guys are also really hard to kind of evaluate in a way. Because that guy's trying harder than literally anybody else on the floor because he wants a contract.
Yeah.
So it's like I also don't really know what you look like when you're kind of going, let's say your normal amount.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're not gutting it out every single time. So
Yeah.
and like I felt like that a little bit with some of the two-way guys they signed last year. It's like, wow, this guy looks so good in the first game, and then you kind of see him more standardly, and it's like, all right.
Do you have a feeling that one of the two will fit into the Nets kind of scheme better, or would it? Do you think Devontae would, fit into the scheme better, or DD? Like, because we're guard heavy, but
I like DDJ a little better just because I think he can like do a little more. Like he has two clear skills. One of them is so far has been getting to the rim. He's been really good at that. Yeah. And then the defense is also like I thought it was okay yesterday, but for the most part, I think he's been pretty good at that. So those are the two skills, and I think for that, like. He's a guy I would keep around because he has two defined skills. He's not one of these guys where it's like he does one thing well and then does nothing else well. Like he has two things that'll keep him on the floor. His problem is there are like 3-4 other guys on this roster that do exactly what he does, which is guard at the point of attack or guard point guards.
Bembry, Bruce Brownish, kind of that
as well.
That kind of mold.
Like, I just like all those guys better and trust all those guys more. So he's kind of in a tough spot, but I still think I would give him the two-way spot just so he can get to, down into Long Island, continue to work on his 3-point shot, and just sort of solidify things down there. Maybe let him play with the ball in his hand a little bit more. I think that's worth investigating a little bit. And that's a good place to do that. Being in the G League, you can kind of figure out those things. So that I think I would be interested in it just because of that. Like I want to see what else he can do in a way.
The comments are saying the other guy, but I want you You're saying a whole please. I don't want to say the names, but it was crazy in the comments. If you're joining us right now on YouTube and you look at the comments, just don't mind the comments. It's a player. If you're coming in the chat right now, look at the comments.
We didn't already establish that he's Devontae. He's Devontae.
Now you're demonetized.
Raise Chubbs, Julian, chime in, like you guys can chime in who you guys think would fit into the Nets, DDJ or the other guy, Devontae. I'm gonna say his name, Devontae. Yeah, you guys can chime in.
I'll go first. At the moment, DDJ is on the bottom of my list. Sekou and Eggplant showed a lot, like in such a short time. Like, but DDJ, I think I need to see another game with him to do a little more. I feel like he was just nervous because this is NBA level talent he's up against now. Like, it's preseason, but these are seasoned veterans he went up against in like Blaine Ellington, Ken Bazemore, and kind of struggled. So I want to see one more game from him to release him.
I'm just putting this out here. If we decide to keep Devontae Kaycock, I'm going to try with all my power to get this man on the show so that every one of you have to call him by his name and try to keep his. And
I'm still calling him Devontae, bro.
By his name. I'm gonna call him by his name.
Devontae.
Yeah, his name's Devontae.
I like what's it called? I like Sekou. I like him. You know. That's who I'm fucking with. Out of everybody, that's who I like the most.
But he wouldn't be. He's already got his thing though. So I mean, because the other thing too is
he can still get cut though.
Cut. I know, but I doubt they would cut. I mean, because we brought it. That was the other thing too. Is I don't think he would cut just straight out like Sekou. I'm pretty sure you could trade him. You could pretty
because of his contract thing.
Yeah, like I mean, like if you I think Bembry's the only one with a very small partial guaranteed contract. Like if you had to cut somebody, that would be the easiest contract to cut. But the rest of them are all, I think, guaranteed. So. Right? I mean, am I wrong about that, Matt? Yeah, I think everybody else is.
We would take a cap hit though with if we cut Sekou. We would take a cap hit.
I believe so. I mean, because you'd be cutting him, but you'd be keeping his money if it's fully guaranteed.
Okay, I thought because I know he had his rookie deal was ending. I don't know if he was like doing the extension thing.
Is he a free agent next year?
I gotta look it up.
Sekou?
What is this, year 3, year 4 for him?
No, I think Sekou, we got him again next year, but I think his contract goes up to $5 million.
His rookie extension is eligible.
Restricted?
It just says, it says 21, 22, 22, 23, 5.5 mil.
Yeah, next year he makes
qualifying offer 23, 24, 7.7 mil.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if we would take that cap hit, but again, it's like I said, it's a tough decision what they're gonna do, who's gonna get cut. But for me, the two-way battle, like I said, I know the Nets Twitter trolls and like it's just preseason, but like if you're really in the Nets nation and you guys follow the Nets, it's every game. These games do matter because again, people are fighting for spots. The preseason games do matter.
Everybody counts. It says in 21-22, Doumbouya will earn a base salary of $613,000, 3 mil, while carrying a cap hit of 3 mil, 6, what he's making, and a dead cap value of the same.
Yeah.
So he's
let me read some of these comments. Somebody said DDJ shot 39% from 3 in college, so he has a potential to be a two-way player. Shout out Al Mac. The Real Royal said DDJ literally almost had a double-double.
Look at this. I love it. The DDJ love.
DDJ is getting love right here. DJs need to crouch down more on defense.
He's got a good shot. The form looks pretty good to me.
He had his moments. He did have
he had his moments. And like I said, we'll see more later in the preseason. Let's see how they use him more. Again, they use him a lot in the point guard role. He was a point guard. And he's not a terrible point guard. He actually can.
It's always so tough because it's one game. It's one game, and everyone's like going to overreact with every game. You see all of Twitter be like, oh my God, Claxton's not ready. What are we doing?
It's a panic button.
Look, I will say the one thing I'll give credence to with that is I'm like, look, it's your contract year. It's a big year for you. Very crowded front court. That was actually one of my big takeaways. Is I was like, why can't you do more than like 3 laps up the court right now?
Yeah, he was gassed.
You had a whole off. This is your first real off season.
Yeah, Claxton was gassed, bro. He was like literally just like, I was like, damn, bro.
Yeah.
But what was I gonna ask next? Oh, with the DDJ thing, right? So if DDJ actually lands that two-way, I think he will to, like what Matt said, I think he could develop more in the G League. But segueing into Kessler, Matt, how's your views on Kessler Edwards? Do you think he will start in the G League, or you think he could kind of crack the rotation with his defense and his height and everything?
Yeah, I like him a lot. I did a podcast with a guy named Mike Prada who he's been doing NBA content for years, and we were kind of talking about like what the Nets did this offseason. He was kind of in the same camp as me. Is they lost Jeff Green, and granted they replaced him with Millsap and Patty Mills, good players like that, but they didn't really replace that position, that wing position. Like they didn't really bring anybody in.
Yeah.
So if they ever get to a point where they feel confident in Kessler Edwards, and the big thing right now for me is just the jumper. And sometimes NBA analysis is that easy. It's like if this guy can make threes, I'm not saying he's going to play a lot, but I think he can earn himself minutes on the nights where the Stars rest, or maybe play a couple minutes in a big game.
Yeah.
I think that'll be the big thing for them, is just feeling like, hey, what's this jumper look like? Because I felt like he was a little sped up yesterday. Like it didn't, one, he's got a really weird jump shot that kind of takes a little bit longer just because his feet fly out apart from one another. Like it's he
does a little thing, the little stance
really
thing.
Weird.
He does he puts his foot over his but the best way I think that Kessler works is when there's ball movement, because when there's ball movement, that's when he's most effective. He needs the ball swing, and then he'll be that last guy to hit. That's when he's in rhythm and hit a shot. But when it's kind of stagnant and then just throw it to him, then that's when I see he gets all I don't know what to do, and then scrambles with it.
I totally agree. Yeah, and I think part of that is yesterday, again, they did not have anybody that could run the offense aside from Paul Millsap on handoffs. So that's a really bad. That's not a great spot for Kessler Edwards. And same thing with Summer League. He just hasn't been in the position yet where I really feel like we're going to get a good feel for what he looks like. Say, just give him one of the big three to play with.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be all three of them. Just give him one for a couple minutes, and I bet those looks are going to be a lot easier, where he doesn't seem as rushed. He doesn't seem like he's as I don't want to go as far as overwhelmed, but just clearly mentally affected a little bit by just the speed of the game and how fast NBA defenders are. You hear a lot of guys talk about that. It is a huge change for most guys, is the speed at how fast these guys move around and just think through things.
And it's physical too. The NBA is a lot physical than a lot of other leagues too.
Yep.
But with Kessler, like I said, everything you said I agree with. He shot 40. I think he shot 40% in college. So it depends if he still shoots 40. Like I said, we got to see how he shoots. Then if he starts shooting bad or his percentage drops, then I could see them kind of adjusting his shot with the forward step, because it's kind of off balance, and like I said, it hurts his pull-up game too, because when your feet are not balanced when you do pull-ups, it's not it's gonna affect your shot. So we'll see if the NBA, the Brooklyn Nets development staff changes it or adjusts it.
Kyle
Korver, of course,
Korver will probably have him change the footwork a little bit, because I'm not sure with the way his feet kind of land. Korver famously would come off screens, or he would set screens, and that's just a lot of movement before you take that shot. And I'm kind of wondering, what does that look like for Kessler Edwards? Is he able to come off a screen and catch the ball and go up with it right away, or is he more going to be a guy that's just parked in the corner? We're going to kick it out to you. You don't really have to think too much, because it's a weird release. So I don't know. I'm pretty curious to see how that looks for him.
I'm gonna read some comments here.
I like the floater, by the way, too.
Oh yeah, his floater.
I didn't know he had that in the bag. He did that, and I was I had to do a double take. I was
it's not Bruce Brownish yet. It's not Bruce Brown level yet, but it's.
So you're saying his floater looked better than his shot? Is what you're saying?
Bruce Brown floater is goated, bro. Remember when he was doing floaters in the.
It was clanking the first half. A really long floater last game. He shot. It was. I'm free throw line floater.
Yeah.
I'm man, I wish I could do that.
Except for the game when we needed him to do it, and then he didn't. It failed us. That was in game 4.
But we do not talk about that.
Don't talk. We won't talk about that. But his floaters usually goated. He be hitting floaters. Whoa, how do you make this floater?
Yeah.
I'm gonna read some comments, and then I'm gonna read some comments, and then we're just gonna go into the ask whatever you guys want to ask Matt Brooks right now. Shout out Kai Sean. What's good, bro? Jonathan said future starting 5, big 3 with Kessler and Claxton. Wow, that's a future 75. The real world said Kessler's going to China. That's crazy. Coach Corver, shout out new MVRC. Coach Corver, put some respect on his name. Sam C, thank you for the yes, the stream is looking good. Aaron Burhane, Robert Williams was sending Bruce. Yeah, Robert Williams was okay. Yeah, he did affect Bruce's floater. He did. But Bruce's floater came alive in the Bucks game.
It really did.
Came alive in the Bucks game. In that Bucks series, it did until that one game he failed us.
Hey, but he was great in Game 7 too. He was
in Game 7. Yeah, he was good in Game 7
like
too.
25 points, right? 25, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys want to ask Matt any questions right now, just put at Saint in the comments. We're going to ask any questions y'all have. Any next questions?
Real quick though. Before we get into the questions, let's just talk about Matt Brooks's podcast real quick, just so you know. Like, if you haven't checked out
the podcast,
we're gonna throw this in here later, but I do have to give the man a shout out because I did listen to it. I have an hour drive to work, so I listen to podcasts, and I definitely like the one that I really enjoyed. Is it with Prada where they talk about KD's injury and how he broke it down?
Yeah.
Was that one to me was, I really enjoyed that one.
Good.
If you haven't seen, check out Matt Brooks. He has a podcast. You can find it in the Apple Podcast, some other areas, called The Clear Out. Check out Matt Brooks' ABA on YouTube. He has like him and AJ are kindred spirits about video breakdown. Like that's what the same thing like AJ likes to do. Man. These guys. We wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Yeah, Matt. I was going to say because like I played basketball at the college level before, so I'm like, the way Matt like knows these plays and knows certain things, I'm like, did you play before, or do you have some time of basketball history? Because I was wondering, like,
100% self-taught. 100%.
Okay, self-taught.
YouTube, reading. It has been 3 years of trying to teach myself a sport that I don't really know that well. So I wish I had a playing background.
So you're saying you had a Kessler Edwards shot, is what you're saying?
Oh, it's looking and without the floater, no floater.
Yeah, because I remember you was talking about ice the ball screens, and a lot of people don't know about ice. Because I learned ice in college about icing ball screens and stuff like that. Because that was our defensive coverage. So I'm hearing Matt Brooks talk about ice. I'm like, oh, he really knows what he's talking. He really knows. Like he knows the in betweens, like the things that only players, be knowing stuff.
He put forth his due diligence. He did his homework. He did his homework. That's good.
But yeah, make sure you guys check out the Clear Out podcast. That is Matt Brooks. Okay, we got questions coming in saying.
I'm all right. So the first one I'm going to shoot at, just like, hey, give Matt a little props to follow the breakdown. And Chen, you said you're a fan, or or just a beat reporter. Aren't you? I think you're both. Bro.
He's a legit beat reporter, guys. You guys can't ask that, because if you guys know, when we watch those interviews, it'd be like Matt Brooks Nets Daily, like how they go up next and then Matt asks his questions. Like, come on, y'all.
No, I didn't. I was not a Nets fan growing up. I was believe it or not. I was a Minnesota Timberwolves fan. Yes, they exist.
Oh, okay.
So if you're
breaking news, Matt Brooks is.
Yeah, so I'm like one of 7 people that have ever watched that team ever in humanity. But yeah, so if you ever see me, I'm like being a real pessimist about the Nets. I'm like, I just don't think this team is going to win. Now you know why. It's like, this guy watched a lot of Minnesota Timberwolves basketball. Like, that's why he's such a defeatist about everything. So
Minnesota, man. Oof.
That's I got 2 questions that we're gonna kind of tag together because where was it? I think the question they are coming in fast. I think was one of the questions was, do we think? Oh, here we go. I'm going to combine these two. Daquan said that, y'all think Cam getting PT? And then the other one kind of tied to that was, what do you think Cam has to improve on the crackdown rotation? I guess we could kind of just talk about Cam a little bit as far as to answer the questions of how much time is he cracking the rotation? What are the things he has to work on? Because we did a stream yesterday, and that was one of the things we kind of talked about too, and had a conversation in our Discord about like what other areas because some people are just let him shoot. Who cares what else he does? Like I still think it. And then Nash, let's not forget Nash had a big quote like saying pipe down, slow down about giving him the green light. And if you haven't heard that, you should go check it out where he's like, hey, slow your roll. Like yes, the dude's good, but we want him to develop in these other areas. So let's talk about that. Like, Matt, what do you what's your take on Cam and what you would like to see?
I think he should play, honestly. I've been thinking about this because I was a little unsure what it was going to look like. When they drafted him, my first thought was, I was like, I don't really know if they need, like, you can never have too many bucket getters, but also like, do they really need another guy that's like going to need the ball in his hands as much as I figured he would? And even just through summer league, I was kind of like, I don't know what this is going to look like. I thought watching him yesterday, I kind of just got a better idea for what he is. He's not a guy that's like even remotely close to being a really elite pick and roll player. He's not making high level reads out of that. He's not a great passer yet, not a great defender. What I really like is I like him next to guys that are going to create advantages for him. So let's say he plays next to James Harden. That's the one I've been looking at. That's the one I've been circling. Like, if he's going to play, I would like to see him next to Harden specifically, because Harden will run a pick and roll. Guy will roll to the rim. And if he kicks to Cam Thomas, then Cam Thomas just has himself, his man, and the rim. And he's going to make a good decision because he has one guy in front of him. And that is one of the best. I mean, he already looks like one of the better isolation players in the league right now. Like, there are like real deal just signs where you're like, this guy can draw contact. He can step back. He can step to the side. He's got finishes, like little Euro step finishes, knows how to avoid the defender if they want to, take a screen. I sound like that ball don't stop clip. You guys know that one, right? Finish with the left hand. Right?
And don't forget his mid range. Like a lot of ball players nowadays forget about the mid range is a lost art, and Cam has kind of semi-mastered his mid range.
And he's big for his size. Like, he has got he's 19 years old. He's got like shoulders that are already ready to play in the NBA. I think he's gotten stronger. I thought he looked a little bit stronger just in his legs yesterday. So I was kind of like, yesterday was my big, pivotal moment where I'm like, I kind of want to see this guy. I don't know if it's going to happen. I think the situation would be, let's say there's a load management night. He looks really good. Maybe he looks good next to James Harden, because James Harden, we know, will never miss a game ever. Even if his leg is falling off, like, he will play. So, so it's like, I think that'll be the situation. He'll have to get minutes because of another guy missing time. And then who knows?
We can segue that into this next question
on
of
load
thoughts
management.
on load management for the big three in the regular season. I do think it's a great the fact that we are so versatile means nobody has to do 45, 48 minutes a game. Like, exactly. I don't know how the load management's going to look, but just the fact that you don't need to run people out the whole game just to be viable is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, no 40 minutes of KD and Harden against the Detroit Pistons on a Tuesday. Like, we don't need to do that. I would look at some of these game logs at the end of the night. I'm like, what did they play?
I'll be tight when like KD and the big three play like more than 40. I'd be like, come on, they should be playing 30 like in the regular season, like 30.
Especially off that injury that KD had. Like,
and they didn't even get the 1 seed.
Like, it's like resting, I think with the load management, it's like we know it's gonna happen, but it's like we don't know who's gonna get the thing of the injury guys.
Let's just hope they load manage against the Timberwolves instead of the 76ers.
No prime time.
Teams that we struggled with last year that you're like, what the hell? It was like the Wizards, like the Detroit, the Cavs. Like, we just would have these random games where you're right, where you'd like look at the end and it was like you would think it was a playoff game with the minutes we played, and like
it's like, makes
I don't know
sense.
what it was, but let's see. Do you want?
There's more questions?
There's a couple more, and then we can.
No, I was gonna say about going back to what you said about Cam. I feel like with Cam, it's like he's gonna do well if somebody puts him in his spot, because like he was saying with Harden. Because, we've seen Cam shot 10 shots in 14 minutes on Sunday. So we're like, he would have that role of, okay, you're our guy in the second unit, score. But when Harden's in, it's like, I feel like Harden will make him better because, he's going to be like, Cam, come off the screen. I'm going to give you the ball right here. Boom, up in your spot, your mid-range.
Yep.
Boom, right there. And then Cam's just going to be like great off that.
Simplify it for him. Like if you simplify things for Cam, where it's like you don't have to do you don't have to not only worry about creating your own shot, but also keeping other players involved. Like if you just take that part of the equation out, he can just focus on exactly what he's good at, which is ideally shoot off the catch. And then if that's taken away, he can just break it,
go to the basket, get a foul. Because it's what Nets Nation is worried about his shot selection. So with Harden, that will lessen our worries. Like, okay, his shot selection won't be crazy because Harden's going to put him in his, his bag somewhere.
Yeah,
and KD and Kyrie can help him like learn how to get that IQ, to help him with his shot selection. They're the best mid-range shooters in the league right now.
And KD can help him post up. So. I'd love to see him start posting up. He's got a big enough. I don't know. Maybe I've missed that if he has done that a little bit, but I'd like to see that for him. I think he can be a kind of a post-up guard. Look, he's got a little bit of the Devin Booker. You think?
Yeah, he does have a little
bit.
I compare Cam's game to Harden a lot. He reminds me of he has a lot of Harden in him, and I guess you can say Devin Booker. Yeah, Beal.
Harden and Beal.
6'6"? We talked about this yesterday in Discord. Like we were debating whether does Cam Thomas have superstar potential, and then I said, if you say yes, give me a like somebody, and Booker and Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell came up. They both as two similar players. I definitely see the scoring there. What I've liked about Cam Thomas, hearing him say, because I always like to hear this from rookies, especially now today compared to say 20, 30 years ago, with just a different level of how long these guys stayed in college and then came out, was that he seemed open, humble enough to learn. And I don't think you're going to have that issue with him where he's like, I want my time. He has to know what guy, he probably wants to play, but at the same time, how many players can get drafted, drop that far down, and then wind up with the Brooklyn Nets and potentially win a chip your first year out and learn from Kyrie, Harden, and KD,
the tutelage,
all the other vets, that is it. That's like an extra. That's like almost a full year, and couple of years in college to learn more information.
That's more valuable.
Right off the bat. Yeah,
that's more valuable than being on another team. These first couple of years, you're gonna get this education from these three players, like Harden. Didn't he say he's a Harden fan? I thought he said that.
Yeah. They're saying in the comments he studied Harden.
Kyrie and KD. Bro, I would just soak up every single thing that they teach me, and then when it's time for me to go to another team and to be my own thing, but this is the best situation, and then you add a championship on top of that. That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, Saint Jay from BK asked a question about Matt.
Where is it at? As long
he put it. He didn't
Okay, here we go. Yeah. All right, dream job, Matthew. What are you doing to get it?
Dream job.
What does that mean?
Put you on the spot.
He put you on the spot, bro.
Yeah, he did. Look, man, I love what I'm doing right now. I'd love Phil to do what I'm doing content-wise and do it full-time. How I'm doing it, I'm putting my head down and I'm enjoying the journey. Yeah. There is this, doing it part-time it has its ups, it has its downs, obviously. But I've just been kind of appreciating that I am setting my own schedule. I am kind of doing this stuff in pockets that make sense for me. And when I'm feeling creative, I just like creating things, man. I when I do these film breakdowns, this is just what I like to do. It's just, so I'd love to do what I'm doing and be able to do it full time. And if not, it would be cool to do film scouting work. I'd be pretty into that. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, you would be a good scout. Good scout.
Cool. I'm not good enough yet, though. I know I'm not good enough with film stuff to be able to do that. You got to be really, really good to do it.
Because people know that. I hope people know that's a job in the NBA facility. There's guys that break down. They have guys that break down film.
Oh yeah.
And clip it for the coaches, so the coaches can put out certain points.
That'd be so fun,
stuff like that. Yeah, there's literally.
Sound like you know a lot about that, AJ. Sound like you know a lot about that.
Nah, I'm just saying it's just part of basketball. Like I said, when I played basketball, that's what my coaches used to do. They break down the film. Boom, they clips here, clips here. Yeah,
I know.
It's a scout thing. Game tape, game films, and all that. So there's people that do that for them. That's Steve Nash doesn't have time to do that, or the coaches don't have. A lot of coaches don't have time to do that, so they get people to do it.
We could throw this because we are kind of hitting them all. Any extension news? I think it's all kind of relatively been the same. People are thinking,
no, I haven't heard anything.
No, I think these guys are waiting till they can maximize their money, but that's my thought.
Harden said he's not doing. I don't think Harden's gonna do it this year. And Kyrie, who knows? Like,
Damn.
Yeah.
Who knows? I say Kyrie. Who knows?
Look, first we gotta hope he's at practice tomorrow.
Yeah, because we're just hoping Kyrie plays first. Forget about extension right now. Just hoping Kyrie gets his play in the game. Play in the game first before he got a couple years on his deal anyway, so it's like we don't gotta worry about it.
Kyrie,
whether he retires or not, we good. Like we we gonna make our own shit.
Now the toxic fans gonna come in here, bro, and then they're gonna be like, Kyrie's retiring.
No.
Hey, I mean, it's a possibility.
The ball is in Kyrie's court at the moment of how this plays out, and like we've all talked about, like I'm just not going to say anything until the first home game.
The first home game. The preseason's at home. If he's in the Barclays,
if he's at the Barclays and he's on
Friday.
The bench. And he's on the Friday, I'm going to let it go, and we're going to start the season.
But if
he's not there, and then it goes all the way to the beginning of the season, then I might say something. But
you might worry.
I'm not going to say nothing.
There's a lot of Nets fans that are going to be like, start panicking and stuff like that.
I'm going to let it go.
It's going to be insane. We all know it. Kyrie sits out a game and Shams tweets it. Everyone's going to go insane. And it's just what it is.
It's bound to happen, bro.
You will never be underwhelmed with Nets fans' reactions to anything.
No. We need to relax.
DJ got the spot over K-Cock. Sean Marks' watch. You can't do it. Nope.
That's Twitter is a lot of overreaction.
Real quick, Pat, what did you think of because I still love talking about this, the overreaction of Sean Marks' haters at the beginning of the offseason. Sean Marks, we even had one of our guys in our Discord. He's been with the Nets Kingdom since the beginning. He was like, Sean Marks is cap. He's this. And he came on, he apologized. Like, what were you, honestly, what was your thought when you saw this all going down? Lakers just snatching fools. Were you panicking, or were you like, nah, this is Sean Marks. He's playing chess. We know what's up. I'm going to trust the process. Or did you have a panic moment?
No, I didn't like it. After the first couple of days, I was like, I don't know what. It was just a weird.
That's what I felt. That's what I felt like.
Yeah,
I was like, what the hell just happened? It felt like this big, off season, and I was like, this is weird. Like, this is all we got. It's Bembry and a trade for Javon Carter.
The Spencer news is what had me like flabbergasted, bro. Like, I looked at my phone like 3 times. It was like, and Spencer Dinwiddie has been traded for a second round in the TPE. I was like, what? We was waiting 2 days all night for that. And I was like,
didn't we stream when that happened?
Did we? I forgot.
We streamed a few.
Yeah, we streamed. We was all talking crazy. I was talking crazy.
We were up for so long. I got the notification at midnight on a Monday. And then it's Wednesday. I'm at football, and when I get back from football, the first thing I see is everyone. My Twitter, I have like 90 notifications, and
I'm like, what?
And they're all Laker notifications.
Spencer for a TPE. I was like, what's going on, Sean? I was like, Sean.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, could have got something more for that. Like, we were all expecting like a big name, some kind of trade or something. Kuzma, something.
I do pride myself on not going too crazy when the first thing. Because I mean, at the end of the day, we were all kind of like, Sean Marks. The Lakers just got 90 people, and you're just sitting here with DeAndre Bembry.
Yeah. Which, by the way, you look at the Lakers roster now, and you're kind of like, wait, I don't even know if I like what they did. It's like,
I think it was the action.
It was just like this guy has been with us for so long. I don't think he's done. And he said it. He said he wasn't done. And it was just like maybe Nets fans need to chill. I mean, obviously the trade wasn't amazing, but you saw what it turned into. You saw all these guys that we drafted. You saw all these guys that we signed. Hell, we even got Sekou for the sake of getting rid of DeAndre Jordan, which was amazing.
That's not a bad deal, bro. Sean Marks, like I said, what Sean Marks did, I was like, I'm not questioning him ever again. I'm just gonna agree with everything he does. You got it, Sean. I told you, I asked the Nets, I was like, can I get a poster? I need a Sean Marks poster in my room. Like, I need, you know what I'm saying? I gotta find one. Eventually, I'll find one.
It's a poster of
I'm saying,
yeah.
One day, I'm telling you, one day he'll be my lock screen, man.
I'm telling you, bro. Sean Marks.
We're not supposed to understand him. Like, he's a special talent at his job. We're not supposed to get it. He's
literally when it started, this is what it was like. If you were like a fan of another team, it was like, the Lakers just like throw money out, like yo.
And Trevor Ariza, Carmelo has signed. Yes, Kendrick Nunn.
it just comes out of nowhere. Kendrick Nunn has had about 90 other offers, and he's got that minimum with the best team, and with arguably the best team in the league.
It was Le GM, bro. I'm telling you, Le GM is people underestimate him. Le GM is a real thing, bro.
And while all that's going on, I'm going on Twitter, and you're like, damn, my notifications are going fast.
Yeah, Le GM. I'm telling you, people underestimate the power of Le GM, man.
People really think he's not a GM. That's crazy.
I'm telling you, even Melo was like,
he literally just said it.
Yeah, he's like, you're the GM, bro.
I joined the Lakers because of LeBron.
Yeah, he's like, you're the GM, Bron. No GM has to call me and tell me I want to be on. He's like, when Bron called him personally, he was like, I care what you think instead of what the GM and everything is. So I was like, it's self-explanatory, man.
Gotta keep Bron happy.
I appreciate Matt Brooks for joining us, man. I know he's busy. I don't keep him for so long and all that, but like I said, appreciate it. Make sure you guys follow Matt Brooks on Twitter, the Clear Out Podcast, Matt Brooks NBA YouTube, right? Oh, yeah. NBA is Matt Brooks NBA at YouTube. Throw that up. Make sure you guys hit that like button on your way out. Again, ask some quick questions. I see some questions in the chat. The shout out to Sean Marks. You got a quick question, Shelves? Oh, go ahead, bro.
Yeah. For Matt, what was your as an interviewer, what was your most self-embarrassing interview like after that?
Oh, that's a great question.
We always have those moments, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, man, most embarrassing? It's probably my voice bottoming out or something like that, or some like doing one of those. I hit one of those. I really pissed off Blake the other week, which I was like, damn. So it was like the first presser we'd had since the season ended, and my nosy ass. I should have just minded my own business, but he said kind of like something along the lines of like like that he talked to a couple other teams, but he ultimately came to the decision about like wanting to stay in Brooklyn. So my nosy ass was like, "Oh, what teams do you talk to?" And he was like, "Hey man, I'm here to talk about Brooklyn today." And that was like I'm sitting there like on the Zoom. I'm like,
that's not that bad of a question. That's not that bad.
It goes right out.
Well, it would have been funny if Blake just trolled and be like, "I was really considering the Lakers."
Yeah.
No, the worst part of the reporters is like when they be on mute, like like you're watching the interview, and it's like it's mad quiet, and you just see like KD and Kyrie just sitting there like looking at you,
and then everyone's just looking at each other, and then
they're like, "Oh yeah, you're on mute."
And then the person that's just Matt Brooks from Nets Daily or whatever, and it's just like, all right, on to the next question. We'll see when he gets back.
It was like, "You're on mute. We'll get back to you. Like, make sure you're not on mute when you're about to ask any."
I think KD probably has to be the hardest guy to read. Like, because he just has that same, like, every time, like, whether he's out, like, at some award show, whether he's, like, getting interviewed, anytime anybody asks him a question, he has that same, like, poker face. And, like,
he's been so easy to interview for me. I mean, he's a basketball genius. Like,
he is a genius.
You listen to him answer questions. Honestly, like, I sometimes will just sit there and listen to him talk about basketball and whatever on the post-game stuff, because I'm like, dude, this guy, like, we don't really realize is sometimes these guys know about as much as us when we leave these games because it's so fast. Like, how do you, kind of, I guess, process everything that you saw without watching it back? Like, even pro-level scouts or players, they'll tell you, like, we really learn when we watch these games back. He's one of those rare people that he can see exactly what the Nets were doing wrong while it's happening. Like, he has a perfect sense of that. He's describing it succinctly. He's saying, our weak side rotations, we were a little bit early, and then our nail help was, he'll just like go deep into it, and it's really unique. And for me personally, I love that. I eat that stuff up. So I found him really easy to interview, oddly enough, and maybe that's just because it's a common interest.
No, I noticed that too with KD and Bron. Both of them have like some crazy like photographic memory computation. Like they can just finish the game and. It's like they can finish the game and just tell you every little thing that happened. Like, we had these turnovers. This happened in the middle of the game. I'm like, how do you remember this stuff? It's like really crazy on the fly, and it's like super fast. Things are happening fast, and they just like quick with it. Like that's why like KD and Bron both have that. I guess it's part of being as part of being like a superstar basketball player. Like you just know, like what I'm saying. You've seen the game so much, and it just slow. It's like you're seeing it in slow motion. Yeah. So that's why it's like so easy for you to just grasp,
I mean, he's probably I mean, it's such a generic pick, but I really think he might be my favorite interview just because, like, there'll be games I'll come away like, I don't really know what I thought of that. And then he'll just tell me, basically what I should look for. And of course, I'll do my own independent research, but I'm like, God damn it, he was right again. That is exactly what happened in this game.
Yeah, that's like I said, KD's different, man. He's a basketball genius, man.
He really is.
What do you? Again, Matt Smart, one of the best reporters at asking the questions, and me and saying everybody go through this because it's like with the questions that are the reporters ask. I know you have no control over it, but do you think like could it be a little bit better? Could it be a little bit more in depth? Because I know some of it is because it's hard because NBA is politics now, and it's like. We want the reporters want the headline and they want the magic moment when they're going to say it, but it's like I want less of that and I want more of the basketball. So it's like it's a slippery. You know what I'm talking about?
Is wanting the headline like Trump true journalism? I think is what he's asking.
Yes, perfect question. Thank you, bro.
So I'll give my colleagues a kind of a leg up here. Zoom's been really hard. Zoom has been really hard because there's no exclusivity, and because we're all sharing the same call, in a way, you're kind of all sharing the same quotes. So because of that, you don't want to ask a question that's like way deep. Like I even found myself kind of stripping back some of my questions as the year went on because I'm like, these are just like I don't, there's only so many questions that are asked. Like it feels kind of awkward to like take a whole Zoom call with however many people on it and be like, hey, tell me about this really small detail that nobody else is going to use in their story. So I think that's a little bit hard because you are kind of it's a community type of it's like a it's like a
I know what you're saying. Yeah, it's people don't want to do the same because I know sometimes when they go to the next reporter they'll be like, oh, I'm sorry if somebody answered this or again, but I need it for my
And it's also hard because we have availability like every day. Like by the way, it's really damn hard to have a question every like 4 hours about basketball. Like sometimes I'll ask questions, I'm like, that was a shitty question. I don't know why I did that. That was not good, but it's because
are you trying to come up with questions that like catch it, like be original? Do you fall into that too? Because I do hear like some of the questions, like it just seems some of the reporters are just throwing up general blah softball, nothing really like almost like they didn't watch the game, right? Like and then there's some guys that like I've seen you ask some good questions. Christian Winfield, I like some of his questions he's at. Like there's some reporters that you can tell like they watch the game, they have a general interest, and they kind of want to know something a little bit more, maybe what the thought process was. But are you trying to come up with like not gotcha questions, but questions that you think they're excited about, or you just think they're so burned out to them because they're getting 25 questions?
Me personally, like I don't know about what other people do, but like this is my opportunity to learn in a way. So, and I know I'm gonna be able to do something with it, even if it is something where I'm like, hey, you guys are using more, I don't know, Chicago action, which is a play that a lot of teams are running now. Like if I can ask that, I can learn about why they run it, what advantages they get out of that. That's really interesting to me. And it's like, when am I going to get to ask professionals in this field about why they're doing what they're doing and how they're doing it? So that's personally my motivation. But I know, like, not everybody is interested in the stuff that I'm interested in. Like, it's just, that's the reality of it. Some people like the storytelling. Some people like connecting with the players and doing that stuff. And that stuff's been really hard to do over the last year because of Zoom, because of how distant we are from everybody. So for my work, it's actually been, it's been a little bit easier. I'm still doing the same shit. I ask questions, I come home, grab my film, do something with it. For other people, it is harder. So I think it really depends on what you like and what you're interested in.
For me, all I care about is like, because as Nets fans, so the basketball part of it is important. I know the politics is going to get the headlines and the clicks and everything. So I understand media asking that, but like I said, we want to know what's going on in the team, what schemes, just simple basketball stuff.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be. I'm not saying that's like some super analyzing.
AJ is referring to like the Kyrie thing, like the Kyrie that day. Isn't that what you're talking about? When they was like just asking them all the same questions about like.
Oh yeah. Well, of course that day. That day was just the Vax questions over and over and over again, which I was just like. okay, but we know he's not going to respect his privacy. Now we got to move on. But then the next reporter goes and says,
and it's crazy because and the thing is, like, he'll say that, and then what they'll do is that, you know, they'll go to be like, Kevin Durant, what do you know about Kyrie's issue since he wants?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just it will constantly get brought up, and as long as he's unvaccinated or whatever, it's going to keep getting brought up, no matter how many times he says that he doesn't want to reveal it or that he's not going to. Harden, all these people within the organization are going to get those questions. It's just never going to end until, you know, obviously the problems.
I feel like Nets Nation is, if Kyrie's around and he's at practice and he's at the preseason game, I think people are just going to have to accept the fact that he's there and he's not going to tell you whether he's vaccinated or not, and to just let it go and move on. Like, I really, even if he got it, I still don't think he would tell you. But
yeah, you wouldn't.
Again, this is from me speaking from my point of view. Matt doesn't control who asks questions or stuff like that. I'm just saying from my point of view. Where, like I said, as a fan's point of view, like, although the politics are cool, but we want to know what's going on in the team, what's going on in the drills, what's going on, what they're doing. Like, you know, that's. I'm just saying.
I would have to think a fan's reality and expectations of questions might be different than an actual reporter. And like you said, you have to get out.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
We also got editors too. You have editors that are
true.
Oh, exactly. Got editors. Yeah.
So
you are working for a paper or that's true.
Yeah. So it's not always in people's control. Like, sometimes you have to do a story on a certain thing because editor wants it. I mean, it's just it's a lot that goes into it. And the Zoom, I mean, we're kind of finally getting out of that, but Zoom has not helped with any of that at all.
We got another question. FN said, Matt, did KD DM you like?
Oh my goodness! This is when we got to wrap it up here. So KD DM you.
I'll never tell anybody.
That's a good reporter.
That's private. Reporter. That's personal. That's
Wait,
personal
what interview was that? Well, he said he would DM you. Wait,
I don't know. It was somewhere in.
He said I would DM you the.
That's what everybody was saying. So our audio was screwed up, right? I couldn't hear anything. So like I thought he was mad at me for asking a question. So I was like, I texted somebody. I was like, damn, did I piss him off? He was like, no, he said he was going to DM you. I was like, I'm pretty sure I pissed him off with the question because it glitched out on my end, and I was like, fuck, I guess I fucked that up. Like, I don't know what I said, but my goodness. But yeah, so, but yeah, no, I'm not.
Yo,
KDB out of the way.
KD be spicy in the DM something. Remember what he did to?
Oh my God, Michael Rappaport. Oh my
God. You don't want another Michael Rappaport situation in the DM, yo. He was
honestly, no, he did. He did not DM me, by the way. I wish he had. That would be cool.
Yeah, he did DM Barry, y'all. Don't say that. Don't say that.
It would be funny and crazy just for him to randomly DM you. You'd be like, "Why'd you ask that question, man? You know,
ESPN first take.
That doesn't want to give us the real scoop. Katie really went after him, attacked him. Yeah.
It would have been on First Take by now, bro. It would have been on Undisputed. Like,
he's like, I heard your voice bottom out. I heard
that. Yeah, it would have been like, all right, y'all. But yeah, we're gonna wrap this up.
Once we end the broadcast, just hang on for a second, all right?
Yeah, we're gonna get last words in for you can go ahead first, Drew. Last words.
Preseason finna start up.
Yeah.
Shout out to Matt Brooks for coming coming here. He's a part of the community, and we have to uplift each other. So go follow him on every platform that he has. And thank y'all for coming here and like the video. And we gonna be back.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Rage.
Great stream again. Appreciate you for going up, Matt. And, obviously the season's starting back up. I mean, it feels like just yesterday we were talking about, oh my God, what is Sean Marks doing? We don't just getting the free agency, us having pretty much nothing, us everyone being worried, this and that. But like, man, it's actually went by fast. And like, we're back in the preseason. We're back into all of this, and we're about to start watching basketball, being all in this for 24/7. I mean, I'm excited. Definitely excited to see what everybody can bring. And Cam Thomas, you never know, man. This guy,
Dr. Doom. Dr. Doom. Forget about Dr. Doom, bro.
I like that name. I like that
jersey. I will forever keep that jersey.
Doombaya. Go ahead, Chubbs.
Shout out to Matt for coming on. Shout out to y'all for staying up till 10:36 to watch, and see y'all next stream. Just keep this up.
Yeah. Facts, all facts. Go ahead, Saint.
Matt Brooks, I appreciate it. We've been playing that Twitter DM tag, and it worked out. And hey, no, W, I really appreciate you coming up. Love what you're doing. Have like Julian was saying, it's all about Nets love. Appreciate you putting it out there and coming on and sharing your experience. So Brooklyn way, little Jersey swag. We'll be back at it. Hopefully, we will see Matt Brooks' face back on this spot at some point. We're literally going to be here almost after every game. We're going to be nonstop, so you're always welcome, man. Appreciate it.
Yes, y'all. And my last words are like up the stream. We're almost at 100 likes. Yeah, like up the stream, y'all. Again, this probably is going to get washed back and replayed. You guys know that. So, like I said, keep liking up the stream, putting the Nets community out there. There's not a lot of outlets. There is a lot of outlets now. I've seen on podcasts and stuff like that. But, the more battle, the Knicks are okay, with their YouTube. Knicks fan TV is okay, but the Nets Kingdom is about to, we coming up, you know what I'm saying? The Nets world is here. You know what I'm saying? This is our year, you know what I'm saying? So we're gonna step things up content wise, podcast wise, just across the Nets community, Nets Twitter, we're gonna go hard, So
thank y'all for all the support that
thank you guys for the support, man. Yes.
Let's give Matt Brooks the last word. Matt, whatever you gotta say, you can repeat the same word 50 times. You can promote, you can whatever you gotta say, man. This is your time. Last word, man.
Yeah, no, I just want to thank you guys for having me on. This was super fun. Just laid back hour just to get hour 15 to talk about the Nets. So thank you guys for having me on. I'm sorry it was such a pain in the ass to get on here, but
it's all good.
I hope I did all right here.
No, you did good. It was a W stream.
I should probably plug something, right? Like, follow me on Twitter. I don't know. I'll post everything there, so just follow me there.
Yeah, we got you all plugged in.
We got you plugged in. Are you still doing the Patreon thing or no?
Yeah. So
plug that.
I should plug that. The thing that, like,
that's going to keep you eating food and drinking wine.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's also Matt Brooks NBA. There's a $2, $5 option. It unlocks my videos a little bit early, but really it's just to be like, hey, appreciate your work. Here's money so you can have food and shit like that.
Support Matt, bro. Support Matt, yo.
I will be signing up for that. So
appreciate that.
Support the Patreon. You know what I'm saying? And what the Nets have practice tomorrow? It's tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I'm not gonna be there.
Not gonna be there?
No, my coworker Chris Mulholland will be there, so he'll be covering.
Oh, I like him too.
Yeah, Chris is a good dude.
So, the next time that you ask questions, can you tell Kyrie I said I love him?
You want me to tell you? Should I say, Kyrie, I love you? I mean,
Kyrie, I love you. Julian said, Kyrie, I love you. That's what he's.
All right, I can do it. I don't know if I can do that.
Nah, you can't. Don't do that, man. Don't do that.
I'm playing. Don't do that. He's gonna let you like weird.
I don't know if you mentioned, but the Patreon link is isn't it in the Matt Brooks NBA on YouTube?
Yeah, it should be in there.
I'll put the link in the description for this video too.
Oh, you did?
Just just send me. Well, I will. If you just send me the the link. Yes,
I got you.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
All right, y'all. Appreciate everybody.
All right, y'all.
All right,
appreciate everybody in the chat. We'll see y'all next time.